I sit in the fading afternoon sunlight, contemplating my plants. A couple of them are spilling out of their containers and could probably use some repotting. The hydrangea in the corner is limp, despite being well watered. It is blooming, but it doesn't look quite as healthy as it was last year. Maybe I should try a different fertilizer? I take a leaf between my fingers to check how it's doing. The leaf turns brown immediately, and the entire plant starts drooping noticeably. I push down the nauseous twist that's forming in my stomach and turn away. It's definitely gotten worse than it used to be. Touching a living thing with my hands quickly drains their life force. Gloves don't help either. But just being in the same room has a noticeable effect. My plants are definitely feeling it. I've always been like this. Some people are just cursed. I moved out to live on my own once it became clear the curse was increasing in intensity. It's a lot worse now than when I was a child. I pick up my phone to check the family group conversation I haven't replied to in 2 weeks, and put it down again a minute later. I look up when I hear the sound of the door. Bryleaf. Oh, hello. You're a little early. I'm not sure how to describe my relationship with Sil, but he's immune to the curse. Immune enough, he called it. So I don't feel as many qualms about him visiting me as I do with everyone else. It's nice to have company in any case. What are you up to? I was thinking of repotting some plants today, but I trail off. It's hard to say out loud. I can do it. It seems like he knows me well enough to guess my thoughts. I watch as he gently lifts out a plant from its pot and places it in a bigger one under my instructions. Hopefully this one will do a little better from now on. Bits of potting soil cling to the sleeves of his shirt. It's a strangely nice feeling to know that me and my plants leave some tiny mark of their existence on someone. He scoops up a few crumbs of earth that have fallen aside and gingerly places them in the flower pot. Are there any others I can help with? I think I saw another one that didn't look too good. Better not touch that one. I think it's got some root rot going on. That plant should ideally get all its soil exchanged, but with my curse, I shouldn't be touching it, and I don't think Sil should either. Sil is a Grim Reaper, which means you can't let him near things that are close to dying if you don't want them to cross to the other side. I learned this from experience. I mostly laugh now when I remember the expression on his face when the little plant died immediately in his hands, but it was upsetting at the time. Still, I appreciate his help. He doesn't affect things that are alive and well. Sil is actually his middle name. I use it because speaking a Grim Reaper's name is said to be a bad omen, and I figured a middle name would be less of an issue. With nothing else left to do, we settle on the sofa with a cup of tea each. How is that succulent I gave you? Kind of spongy. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll live much longer. I see. I thought it might be more resilient than the other plants. Succulents are adapted to a specific kind of extreme environment, but that doesn't mean they're more resilient in general. It's a common misconception. Ah. But I appreciate the gesture. I'll do my best to keep it alive for a bit longer. I smile, and I mean it. Talking to him, it feels like something heavy lodged in my chest has come loose. Is that jacket new, by the way? It looks nice. It is, thanks. How's the Grim Reaper business? Well, apparently the head office wants to have a talk with me. They didn't say why, but maybe they don't find me suitable anymore? I'll find out. Would that affect your ability to come visit me? Why? No, no. The immunity doesn't come with being a Grim Reaper. It's a requirement for being one. We accompany souls out of all kinds of peril, after all. I've always been like this, immune to poison and injury. That won't change. So don't worry. Reassured for the moment, I settle against his shoulder. I should probably offer to put on some movie or something, but I'm sleepy. It seems like we both dozed off, and it's the middle of the night when we wake up. So Syl just decides to stay over for the rest of the night. We end up waking up again just around sunrise. I feel a little too comfortable on Syl's shoulder. I assume my bones will creak horribly once I try to move. Want to go outside? Out? Barely anyone will be about this early. It might make for a nice walk. I hesitate, but in the end, it is very tempting to get to stretch my legs a bit. The streets really are almost empty. In the morning light, the air doesn't feel dusty for once. Syl suggests walking to the municipal woods where we're unlikely to see anyone aside from a handful of early morning joggers. The air in the forest is cool and damp, the sort that instinctively makes you breathe in deeply. The leaves are tinted yellow in the sunrise. As I stand between the trees, I can feel the trickle of life force being drawn from them towards me. It's the sort of thing that makes me want to lock myself up in a sterile room. Start walking. As long as I don't stay in one spot for too long, the energy doesn't really converge on me. I look at the foliage floating past me as I try to suppress the dread forming in my stomach. I look up at the bits of sky peeking through the tree cover. There's something paralyzing about it. Syl catches up to me. Bri, you don't have to walk like this. Bri, you don't have to walk like this as a race. I stop with my fist clenched. Everything around me dies. And you, what does immune enough even mean? Syl looks concerned, which is the part of this that makes me feel the worst. What it means is that I'm not immortal, but I'm quite certain I'll outlive you. Your curse affects me far less than it does the average person. If being around you now means I only live to 120 instead of 150, it's not a hardship or something I'll regret. Bri, let me be with you. You can enjoy being here for a moment. The trees won't be that much worse for wear. I look at Syl, blinking through the burning in my eyes. The tears haven't fallen yet. I wipe them away with my sleeve. Even when I stand close to him, his life force stays put, circling around him. I don't move away when he steps closer. He wraps his arms around me, and I can hear the life pulsing through him. Glueblade. Thank you. That was short and sweet. Very touching. So this was Deathtouch on Leaves. If you like this, you want to give it a try yourself, you can click the link that's pinned in the chat, and Nightbot should be dropping it periodically here and there. Go try it out, rate it, play it, oh yes, very important for the developers. If you get those ratings in, I think there's one more day where it'll be good for the jam. So that was nice. Very nice. I'm going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and switch over to the next game.